You will study the lesson The Portrait of a Lady written by Khushwant Singh. Before starting on the lesson, there is a simple activity which you will do with your partner. What you have to do is that you just turn and talk to your partner who is sitting behind you. Talk about your grandparents, either of one of them or both of them. It can be maternal or it can be paternal. Later on you can share this with the class too. Okay, having done that, now let's come to the chapter. Before starting the text of the chapter, reading of the chapter and about the author, let me talk about the title of the lesson in a minute. The Portrait of a Lady. This portrait is not a portrait drawn with color and pencil and all. This is a portrait that is drawn with the help of a pen, meaning he has described his grandmother in such a way that a living image of grandmother is created before our eyes. After this, it will be, this one is written by Khushwant Singh, and it will be an interesting study. You must know something about Khushwant Singh, who he was. He was an Indian writing in English. He was a very famous, well-known writer. He died recently in 2014. He died at the age of 99. He was a person who has witnessed India-Pakistan partition in 1947, and he wrote a novel on that partition. The novel is known as Train to Pakistan. It was published in 1956. There are certain other things which you can read in the slide, and if you are more interested, you can go to Google and read more and more about the author, and even you can read a book or two about by the author. He has written so many good books. Yes, next, I have taken some difficult words from the lesson and their meanings are given. You can read the words, you should read the words, note down their meanings, and when you will read the lesson, these words, and meanings will help you to understand the lesson better. After reading every chapter, it is important that you take some of the words and make them part of your active vocabulary. How you should use the word again and again by creating some context. For a few days, this practice must go on, and then the word becomes part of your active vocabulary. Here, I have taken three words, that is cremate, sagging, and dilapidated. To make this word part of your active vocabulary, here I have used the same in sentences. You at your own end should try read these and then create use the words in your own sentences, creating your own context. After this, when you start reading the chapters, you will find that Khushwant Singh has described his grandmother in the beginning of the chapter in para 1 and para 2. That will become a character sketch of grandmother in a way. After that, he's in the whole of the chapter, he is talking about his relationship with his grandmother. And if you are careful, you will notice that he talks about his relation with the grandmother in his childhood, then boyhood, then adulthood. Here in this slide, I have put it in the form of a table. How was the relationship in childhood? How was the relationship in boyhood? And how it is growing and maturing in adulthood. So, study this slide carefully after reading the chapter, and you can prepare this question too, and you will get a clear cut tabular form of picture where we come to know about his relationship with his grandmother. The next is character sketch of grandmother. As I've already told you, para 1 and para 2 of the lesson talk about grandmother's character sketch. Here I have taken those points which will form part of our character sketch. You can read these points and create your own character sketch using these value points. Next, after reading every chapter, it is very important that we should understand the message of the chapter. Here, I have put the message of the chapter. The message talks about that elderly people should be part of the family and they should be looked after well in the family itself. After this, I have given you some questions of creative and critical thinking. These are such questions. Uh, to these questions, there can't be any ready made answers. So, every child can answer it from his or her own perspective of life and his knowledge about the surroundings and things. So you people will be writing answer to this question. The first one is that grandmother is looked after well in the family. What message do you derive from the story? How will you transfer this message to the others? You can answer it in your own way. Next, grandmother used to feed dogs in the village and sparrows in the city, and this is part of ancient Indian culture that householders take care of flora and fauna. Do you approve of such practices? If yes, then how can this be cultivated in children? If no, then why not? So this is the explanation, some of the points on which you should work and prepare this lesson. And one more question is that after reading the chapter, the way Kushwant Singh has described his grandmother, you taking cues from there should describe your own grandmother. This will become your creative writing piece. Thank you, everyone.